Alright, yeah. If you're watching this, it's because we are working on Workshop Unit 2, Day 1. As we're going over this, I just want you to be aware that part of what we're going to be working on in Unit 2 of Workshop is not only the reading and annotating that we've been working on, but we're going to take those and then we're going to start working on writing summaries. So today we will read through this article and create the annotations in the same way that we always do. But when we come back on Friday as we work on this, we're going to be working on taking what we read today and writing a summary of it. Okay? At this point, you should have already finished this step, but I'm just going to walk you through what I would have expected to see you do. Directions. Use the following power reading strategies to read and understand this text with your class. Set and follow a purpose for reading. If you've done that, this means you've come down here, you've found your purpose for reading, which is just determine the author's purpose, but you've made an annotation that says, I'm trying to figure out why the author wrote this article. Alright? And again, you're creating this annotation just so the act of writing this down is going to help you remember as you read this actual article what you're trying to do as you read. Alright, so preview the text and make predictions. If you've done that, that means you came down here and you read vocabulary words you will figure out is uncommunicative, and then your background information. John Katz believes that sensitivity has been beaten out of boys. Katz analyzes this male maturation process and how boys become men. First published in 1993 in Glamour, a magazine for young women. Alright, so previewing the text predictions in genre, I would say if they're telling me to include genre, I predict this will be a magazine article in which Katz tries to explain why men are expected to behave quote unquote manly. Alright, and I'm saying this because explain why men are expected to behave manly to women. I say the two women because the magazine that he printed in is for women. And then I say tries to explain why men are expected to behave manly because of the line sensitivity has been beaten out of boys. Alright? As you are doing this, though, I want you to be aware that at the end, I'm going to ask you to fill out this sheet. This sheet is called our SAFT model, but it means at the end of this, I'm going to ask you, who is our speaker? And what do we know about him? I'm going to ask you about your audience. So, who was intended to read this article? I'd probably be writing this stuff down on the last page of your document, which is the same as this. Format is, this is genre. So, is this an article, poem, speech, blah, 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 but it might also ask, are there lists or metaphors, things like that. And then the topic is just what is he writing about? Author's purpose. Again, this is why did the author write this? Okay. Because you know this is coming up, as you are making your inferences, I expect to see you tracking these 5 things in your inferences. So we're going to start off. I'm going to do this page for you. Two 9-year-old boys, neighbors and friends, were walking home from school. The one in the bright windbreaker was laughing and swinging a heavy-looking bag toward the head of his friend, who kept ducking and stepping back. "What's the matter?" asked the kid with the bag, whooshing it over his head. "You chicken?" Quick summary is two boys walking, who kept ducking and stepping back. One trying to avoid being hit with bag. Okay. But inferences, I have my author is cats. Do I have anything else now? I get my speaker. Do I get my audience? No, not really. Outside of the preview says it's for young women. Do I have the format? Not quite yet. That will come at the end of this paragraph. And do I have my topic? Maybe young boys. But we're going to keep going. His friend stood still and braced himself. The bag slammed into the side of his face and thump, audible all the way across the street where I stood watching. The impact knocked him to the ground, where he lay mildly, stunned for a second. He struggled up, rubbing the side of his head. "See," he said proudly, "I'm no chicken." Alright, so summary is going to be, lets himself get hit with bag to prove he is brave. And I say that because to prove he's not a chicken, he lets himself get hit with a bag, which to me just kind of seems dumb. But it builds here, because now if we're asking about format, this is cats telling a story about young boys. Alright. Coming back, though, do I have my genre yet? Maybe this is an article. I gotta keep reading to prove that, though. The audience, I'm gonna write down here the audience is probably for women. But again, that is because of the magazine for young women here. Alright? You are going through right now, and you should finish annotating this article all the way through. But as you are annotating, you're summarizing on the left, and you're looking for, again, the speaker, and things we know about the speaker. You're looking for the audience, and who was intended to read this, and why would the audience be intended to read this. Again, this one is for young women. You're looking for the format. So quickly here, I can show you, there's a list here that you probably should make a note about. We said in the beginning here, he's starting off by telling a story about young boys. But if he transitions away from that story, you should make a note about what he's doing if he's not telling a story anymore. And then you're working yourselves all the way through. At the very least, by the end of this class, I should see you coming very close to finishing your annotations. All right, if you do finish, there'll be a second article that will be me reviewing what you should have written down here at the end.